Hey Bat fans, Luke here with another video, and just kind of wanted to bat chat a little bit. With everything that's going on right now, it's something I just want to just clear the mind a little bit, try to infuse some positivity because right now it's pretty tough out there to find some positivity, and it's been like this for a while. Everything going on, around beginning of the year to this weekend, it's tough. So just to get some kind of positivity going, clear the mind a little bit, got one in the bat chat. And I know it sounds kind of trivial to probably a lot of folks, but I think it is important to find some things out there that are positive and kind of relieve some of the stress that's out there right now. Because I think, good Lord, we all need it at this point. But yeah, bat chatting is a way. Go to the gym, go to work on it. If you can even do that, it's just a crazy time right now. But definitely wanted to bat chat. And this was the book that was released in single issue format. I was not able to get it. And I knew it was out there. And to be honest, is one I really had trouble getting, believe it or not. I picked this up, believe it or not, around Christmas when I was home for the holidays in Pittsburgh, and New Dimension Comics, and I found it, and I was like, "Yep, I've been looking for this for a while," and I picked it up, and I just got to reading it, believe it or not, this past week, and it is Batman Turning Points. It's a collection of 5 issues. I can't remember what the original year it was released. Because it definitely has this feel. Yeah, it's about 2007. And again, it's 5 issues, but it has a really good cast of stellar creators on here. Got stories by Greg Rucka, Ed Brubaker, and Chuck Dixon. I mean, that's crazy. It's a crazy cast of good writers. Then you have artist Steve Lieber, Joe Galea, Dick Giordano, Bob Smith, Brad Anderson, and Paul Hope, to mention just a few. And this is one where, to me, I have a history degree, so I always like to keep kind of like a historical context of, in order and how things kind of came to be and where we are right now. And this one is kind of tough. um, it's If you try to put this in the canon, it's kind of hard because there's some things that it does uh, would fall into a canon mindset, and like, yeah, you can use this, but then there's some elements you can't. So this is one of those ones, you read this, you kind of take it for what it is and kind of leave it at that. And this one, a Batman Turning Points, is really at heart it's a character study, the relationship really between Batman and Jim Gordon, how it has evolved over time. And to be perfectly upfront with you, this is not one that's going to blow your socks off. This isn't an amazing read. It's not one, if you must have, you have your list of must have Batman titles, this one is definitely not on there. But what this book does do, it provides context. It provides context for those who are looking for more into like the details of the Batman Jim Gordon relationship. But it's also good. It provides context for maybe some that are trying to get their feet wet into Batman, and they read year one, and they read the Long Halloween, or heck, even Batman Snow or Nightfall. These are things I'm kind of referencing throughout here. This kind of gives you some more of that context to understand, how this relationship came to be. Was it automatically just roses and tulips and everything was lovey dovey? No, it's like anything else. A relationship, it builds on itself over time and it evolves. And this is what this story does. So going into this, don't expect Hush, Black Mirror, Long Halloween level storytelling here. It's just not. That's not going to happen. But again, what this does provides context. The first story, it's one that was really well done, and it's written by Greg Rucka with Steve Lieber. This one, right around year one, shortly after. This is one that I think you can kind of use in the context of being in continuity. And what has happened is that there's this individual. This is something that you, when you're reading this story, you kind of have to kind of remember this because something does kind of refer to it later. This exact incident, but we have this individual here. He's attending a wedding, and what we find out that this person's getting ready to, kind of mow everyone down, and what you end up finding out is that this is someone who just had the worst day ever, and his wife and his child were killed in a car accident, and he's just lost it. This is a theme that you would remember seeing in The Killing Joke. It's kind of one of the things where, the Joker was saying everyone, all it takes is one bad day, and this person was a doctor and just had a bad day, and end up, look what happened. He almost killed a whole bunch of hostages. But Batman does show up to try to help. But this is a point where, again, the relationship between Batman and Jim Gordon has not totally evolved, so there hasn't that full trust yet. So Batman does convince Jim Gordon to let him go in and try to defuse the situation, which he ultimately does. But again, you just kind of see the fact that this relationship still hasn't fully evolved yet. This is right off the tail ends, or actually the beginning of Jim Gordon's divorce from his first wife, Barbara. Not too many people know about Barbara, especially you start going into No Man's Land. We'll see that second marriage in a little bit, but this is Jim Gordon at the, just getting the worst possible news coming home after, kind of diffusing a massive situation. And what he come home to, his wife taking his son James Gordon away, just can't handle it anymore. And you see the kind of empathy Batman has, but you kind of see really where you might see more of a year one beginning, where you kind of have like the working relationships start to kind of come together, not perfected, but here you kind of see the seeds of a friendship actually start, and it's kind of nice. It kind of gives you more of that context post year one of the relationship between the two. The second story is by Ed Brubaker with art by Joe Gaia. I'm sorry. This one, to be honest, it was pretty decent. Basically, what it comes down to, it's a encounter with Mr. Freeze. So this is where I remember before I said I don't know if you can really fully put this in continuity. This is like Silver Age design Mr. Freeze, but neither here nor there. It's Batman working together with Jim Gordon, and they kind of take out Mr. Freeze. But this is where we get the introduction of Robin, and this is one that a lot of people kind of interjected that kind of question of, why would Batman bring a child into this? He later formed into is actually his own child, Damian. But why could someone possibly do this? And it's kind of the redemption angle that Batman does with Robin. If it's a good point he brings up in the story, is if he doesn't do this, Robin would go off the deep end. So actually, his mentorship and giving him a purpose actually saves him. One of the many different kind of arguments for why there is a Robin, as you see in different Batman stories, but it was an interesting dynamic. You got the chief, the commish. I think he's still Captain Gordon. I don't think he's commissioner yet. But aligning himself with a vigilante who willingly and openly potentially puts a child or a teenager at risk of doing his vigilante business. So again, it's a challenging kind of roadblock between the relationship between the two, but again, it's the evolution that occurs. The third story, this is actually a really good story. And this was again by Ed Brubaker with art by Dick Giordano. In this case, look into the context of what's happened. This is post Killing Joke. This is post death in the family. So Barbara right now is paralyzed, and Robin has passed away, and Batman's trying to deal with this, in the fact of, has Batman kind of lost his way? Has what he's ultimately doing with the intent of good? And this is another argument we see all the time of, does Batman create the monster, or does the monster create Batman, type of thing? And this is coming from an angle where Batman literally thinks that it's Batman creating the monsters out there. So he goes back to his roots a little bit. And you see the stark reminder he shows, the reminder of his failures, Batgirl paralyzed and Jason Todd dead. But this is Batman trying to get back to his roots, do what he needs to do without let everyone know it's him, type of thing. So he kind of prevents the monsters from getting clout. But while this is happening, he kind of helps Jim Gordon solve this rash of murders that are going on right now. It's called the dumpster murder, where all these murders are being occurring, and they're being dumped in the bodies and then a dumpster, so forth and so on. But even Barbara Gordon comes to Bruce and says, hey, my father can't do this without you, and kind of pulls that fact that, you're actually his friend. He needs his friend to actually go out there and be on the front lines with him to rid Gotham of the crime. And it does kind of come to fruition, but again, this is more of an evolution of that relationship, where you kind of see more now of a friendship and a partnership really start to evolve with this third story, which I thought was really well done. An evolution of Batman coming to realize that, he just can't kind of restrain himself from being on the sidelines. His friend, his partner, he needs him on the front line to really make Gotham safe from all these individuals here. You see this really cool page here. You have Killer Croc, Two-Face, the Joker. And just a really well done story. Again, just kind of reinforces the point of the relationship between the two. More of the partnership being finalized, but again, more of the friendship. Fourth story is interesting. This one, this really doesn't involve the friendship much, but this happens right after Nightfall. I'm sorry, this is Asbats in control, and you just see like the hiccup between Jim Gordon realizing this is not my partner, my friend. This is something. Well, actually, first he thinks that he's gone off the deep end. Something's wrong with him, but then he kind of figures out, this is not, my friend. And you actually see, kind of really gives you more context of the Asbats character, of how far he actually went to bring his own brand of justice to the criminals of Gotham. But Jim Gordon actually enlists the help of Bane, believe it or not, to find out who this person is. And Bane's even telling him this is not, the Bat. This is someone totally different. And Jim Gordon kind of shafts Bane a little bit here, keeping him in jail. But you do see toward the end of it's really cool art. That was one thing that I noticed in here. Is just Asbats is drawn really, really well. But again, this is just kind of realizing, that relationship between Batman, that is Batman necessary? Yeah, to a degree, but again, this is kind of the thing Jim Gordon's got to wrestle through as the commissioner. Aligning yourself with the vigilante, and what the vigilante goes off the deep end. So, and then the last story. This is written, I believe it's Brubaker again. I thought it was. No, Rucka. I'm sorry, Rucka, with art by Paul Pope. Paul Pope. Batman Year 100 of fame. He has a really unique way of doing his art. I thought the art was good in this, but this kind of harkens back to the first story. I'm not going to really ruin what the twist was. We'll just say the good doctor needs to confront Batman and Jim Gordon. And this kind of wraps up at the very end. I don't want to kind of give it away, but it wraps up to what them two bring together, not only as a team but as a partnership, and the good that they can bring, people, and the redemption that they can actually provide. It's just a really feel good story. Again, I'm not gonna ruin the twist, but I will just say that just kind of keep in mind that first story as you kind of go into that final story there. So again, this is not one that's going to blow your socks off. This is not one that's worth you spending, $100 on. This isn't, like, Strange Apparitions where you're getting that last trades and it costs you like $80. Yeah, heck no, I'm not. You do not pay anywhere near that money for this trade. But again, when it goes to the plus on this is the context it provides between the evolution, the turning points, as you would, of the relationship between Batman and Jim Gordon. This is fun. It has great creative talent doing this, both on the writing and the art. I will say Greg Rucka's stories really does pull at your heart a little bit. The way that the characters are developed, and I do like how everything kind of is wrapped up pretty nice and neat at the end. But do I recommend this one? I recommend it for two reasons. Again, I kind of mentioned this before in the beginning. For the context it provides, to long-term readers, of kind of like if you're just kind of wondering more, if you just want more of that detail of how this relationship came to be. And for the newer folks, this is good. Again, it provides you context. If you're reading kind of like, the Batman Essential books, this kind of gives, again, that context of, the relationship, how this could work. How could the commissioner, the captain, depends on what time period you're reading, how could that individual with that authority line himself with a vigilante, and what good comes about it, and how does that make you evolve as a person? It gives you that good context, good character evolution. There's good character building and good art. It was a fun read, just not fantastic. You're gonna be maybe shocked a little bit with the score in the recommendation, but I'm gonna give this a 2.7 out of 5, a little bit above average. Mainly because again, it's just really no meat to it. But the plus is it's context, provides context. Not going to say foundational, and it's not required. It's fun, and with some side benefits to it. But I do recommend it. But again, I don't recommend you spending a whole bunch of money on it. $14.99 for 5 issues. Fair enough, about $3 a pop. If you're looking at it that way. Not the easiest book to find too, so find it at a decent, reasonable price. Absolutely sure. But I do also think you need some foundational stories in there. This is one where if you're a new beginner on Batman, read a couple more of the foundational story, Year One, Long Halloween, so forth and so on, then go to this. But everyone else, long-term readers, absolutely get it if the situation's right. So anyway, those are my thoughts on Batman Turning Points. Hit me up in the comments below if you read this, and we will bat chat and kind of go from there. Hopefully this gave you some sort of, positivity, what's going on right now. Please be safe out there and be good to each other. So until next video, take care.